Picture this. You're a 52-year-old guy sitting in your corner office on the 18th floor. You got the title, you've got the salary, and in some ways you're on top of the world, right? But instead, you're sitting there staring at a text from your 17-year-old daughter telling you the most exciting news of her life, that she just got into the college of her choice and she and your wife are going out to celebrate it for dinner. In that moment, you realize she didn't think of reaching out to you first. That text sits kind of hard for you because, well, it's like a punch in the gut. Your daughter, your little girl, who used to come running to the door when you came home from work, just shared the biggest news of her teenage life thus far and didn't even include you in the conversation. Or maybe think of someone like a friend of mine, Mike. Successful guy, he's an executive, they have a great house and he has a great career and family, but his wife filed for divorce the other day. And when I asked him, what the heck, like what happened there? He said, well, something she said still gives me chills. She said that I've been gone for years, even when I was home. Mike, another guy working for 60 hours a week for the past probably decade or so, thinking that he's building this highly secure nest egg for his family. And he was there for the school plays and the family dinners as best he could, the weekend soccer games and all of that stuff. But somewhere along the way, he became a bit of a ghost in his own family life. There's David, a regional manager, great guy, 3 kids. He called me last month to share some news that his 16-year-old son had been struggling with anxiety for months, going to therapy, having panic attacks. And David wasn't even aware of this. He found out from his wife. And it wasn't that she was trying to keep secrets. The more hurtful thing was that his son never thought to reach out to him and talk to him directly. I realized, David said, that I'm like a boarder in my own house. I pay the bills and I look after the logistics, but I'm not really part of their lives, it seems. And that hurt. If any of these examples hit close to home for you, I want you to understand that you're not alone. And what I'm about to share here, it may be uncomfortable, but it could save you from some regrets that you might have later that may even be eating away at you now, like they are with thousands of other men. If you like what I have to say, go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, share. It's always appreciated. So I want to let you know that I've learned a lot of things from coaching men through their midlife transitions. And I think there are 2 big mistakes that show up over and over again. There are a number, but these 2 are pretty hard hitting. And in my conversations with guys, we often wonder and discuss, well, how did you get there? How did you get to that point? And here's the thing, these aren't necessarily obvious mistakes that were made. They're not the dramatic kind of thing that you read about in the headlines, right? These are slow, gradual shifts that feel completely normal, that the right choices are being made. And you wake up one day and you realize you're living in a house full of strangers. Let's dive into one of these first challenges, the emotional unavailability while being physically present. This is something that happens. Let me paint another picture for you. So you come home from work, you're there physically in the house, at the dinner table, maybe even watching your kid's soccer game on the weekend, but where are you mentally? You're still slogging through that problem you were dealing with in the office at 3 o'clock. You're thinking about that important meeting tomorrow. Your body is there, but you're not. You're somewhere else. You're in your office, you're in that conference room, you're in that important meeting. And this is not just about work stress. This is a way that you've learned to compartmentalize pretty much everything. Work, work, home, home. And you've gotten so good at switching between them that now you really don't know how to switch the emotions of the home life and the work life. The conversation often looks more like logistics than having an emotive conversation. Did you pick up the dry cleaning? What time is practice? Don't forget we have dinner with the Johnsons on Saturday night. It's like you're managing a household the way you manage projects. There's status updates, there's task assignments, there's performance reviews disguised as, how was your day? So this separation is gone in the emotional side of things. Your wife tries to tell you about her day, for example, but you're already organizing tomorrow's to-do list for work. Your kids start to share something that happened to them at school, but you're only half listening while you scroll through your emails, trying to be efficient and catch up to things. You're really training your family to expect you to be emotionally disconnected from them. And that's sad. The second mistake, putting career advancement above everything else, especially your marriage. This one kind of sneaks up because it feels like you're doing the responsible thing, even the noble thing, the right thing. You take the promotion that requires relocating, for example, and you tell yourself you're doing this for your family. There's better schools. It's going to be a better house. You're going to have more opportunities. But you didn't really discuss it with your wife. You may have kind of strong-armed her into that acceptance. Did you consider what she may have been giving up? Her job, her friends and connections, her network? You make decisions about work that affect everyone, but maybe you're not making them with others. You're making them alone because, hey, in your mind, you're the breadwinner, right? You've got to do the responsible thing. You prioritize networking events and client dinners over date nights. You think in your mind, well, this is how I have to build my career. Maybe you're traveling more. Maybe you're working longer hours, taking bigger projects, all while you're saying to yourself, yeah, this is temporary. But here's what's happening. You're treating your marriage like a stable foundation that can handle any amount of neglect while you work on the career and you work on your up-leveling. You assume your wife will simply adapt and understand and will wait for you to have more time once that project's done, after that next promotion, or when things start to settle down finally. The worst part of all of this is your wife probably does adapt. She starts to build a life around your absence. So she makes friends, she develops interests, she creates routines that do not depend on you. She becomes incredibly capable and independent. And you think that's great until you realize, maybe she's become emotionally independent from you. Does that sound familiar? The brutal truth about what's happening when these patterns continue is where it gets really painful. With emotional unavailability, you become a stranger living in the same house as these people who are your family, the people you love the most. But it's not just that you're distant, it's that your family has learned to function without you emotionally. Your kids learn to solve problems without you. They stop coming to dad with the big stuff, their heartbreak, their dreams, their fears that keep them up at night. No, because they don't think that they can rely on you. They do love you, but they've learned that coming to you means getting advice about performance rather than support and hearing their feelings. Your 14-year-old daughter doesn't tell you about the boy who broke her heart because she's learned that you'll either minimize it, oh, you're too young for that anyway, or you'll try to fix it. Want me to call his parents? She doesn't need that. What she needs is you to be available to hear and feel her pain with her, to hold space for her. Be empathetic, not to fix things. Your spouse finds emotional support elsewhere because she has to. It's the new group of friends. It's maybe a new family, a different family that moves in, maybe someone else entirely. And in so doing, creates a rich inner life that frankly doesn't include you because your family unit has learned that sharing thoughts and feelings with you leads to some kind of weird logistics discussion or problem-solving session instead of connection. It's that logical brain that we men tap into instead of that softer side. You miss years of deep connection while being physically present. So think about that. You're right there, but you're missing so much. Your son gets his first job, your daughter, her first heartbreak, your wife has to deal with a difficult career issue or a friendship challenge. And all that happens around you, but not with you. And here's the real stinger. Your family doesn't just adapt to this emotional absence, they thrive despite it. They build inside jokes that you're not a part of. They have conversations that stop when you walk in the room. How does that feel? They create traditions that frankly don't include you. You become an outsider in the family. Your career first approach affects your marriage because your marriage becomes collateral damage. Even if you stay married on paper, you realize that you're treating your spouse like a supporting character in your professional story instead of like an equal partner in the story of building a life together. But here's the part too that also stings, that your spouse sacrifices their own dreams, their friendships, their opportunities to support the career that you've been moving in. And in hindsight, that feels meaningless to them. They move cities for your promotion, give up their social circle, put their career on hold. For what? And the title means nothing to the kids. Your title means nothing to the kids when they graduate. A salary can't buy back any of those years of distance. Your wife became a single parent while she was married, right? She handled the school meetings, the sick days, the friendship drama, the college prep, all while you were building your career. She created a life that frankly worked without you. And now you're looking at that life from the outside wondering, how did this come to be? And how did I become so irrelevant? Here's what men often tell me in coaching. Things like, I thought I was being a good provider, but really I was just being a good stranger. Or my wife knows how to run our life without me, and our kids see me as a guy who pays for things. That's smarts. Another one is, I optimized for success at work and accidentally optimized my family out of my life. The resentment and the distance that this creates in your marriage may feel irreparable. Your wife looks at you and sees decades of unilateral decision-making, missed emotional moments, and partnership that was never really a partnership at all. And she builds a life around your absence, and now your presence almost feels like an intrusion. And the kids, well, they learned to see you as the provider, not so much the parent. They respect you. Maybe they even love you. Do they really even know you? Or more importantly, do you even know them? So what do you do with this information? Because right now, you might be feeling like I just described your life in a very painful way. And that's a heavy thing for sure. First, get honest about where you are right now. Being honest with ourselves is so crucial. And I mean being really honest. When was the last time you had a real conversation with your spouse, for example? It wasn't about scheduling or money, but about things like dreams, fears, and hopes. When did your kids last come to you with something important? Not because they had to, but because they really, really wanted dad to hear this. So take a moment and think about the last family dinner you had. Were you present, or were you merely there and mentally checked out doing some work somewhere else? Did you ask questions that went deeper than, hey, how was your day? Did you share anything real about your inner world to help them understand you more? Here's a simple test. If your family had to describe you to someone, a stranger, for example, what would they say? What would they say about you? He works hard and provides for us? Or would they be able to describe your personality, your sense of humor, your fears, your dreams? Do they know you as a person, or do they only know you as a role? The second thing you can consider is understand that presence isn't just physical. So when you're home and you're physically there, that doesn't count for your mind being elsewhere. Your family needs to see you showing up emotionally, not just physically. They need you to be curious about their inner world, not just the performance stuff. This means putting the phone down when your kids want to talk. It means asking your spouse how they're feeling about something, not just what they're doing about it. It means being willing to sit with your emotions and their emotions instead of immediately jumping to fix things, jumping to solutions. And I know this might sound harsh or uncomfortable, but we were taught to be like this, right? We were taught to be strong, to solve problems, to provide. That's the role that society projects as the good man, the good father. But emotional presence is a skill that you can learn if you don't feel that you have it yet. It's not too late to start. You can also start to recognize that your career will end, but your relationships don't have to. Now, I'm not saying you don't need to work hard, you don't need to pursue success. You get to figure all of that stuff out. But what I am saying is don't sacrifice the people who will be there when that corner office is just a memory. Here's what I want you to think about over the next little while. So in 20 years, say you're finished with your career, maybe on to other things, maybe retired, who do you want to be spending time with? Your family, right? But if you continue on this current trajectory, this current way of being, will they want to spend any time with you? Will they even be there? Will they know how to connect with you? The men I work with are happiest in their 60s and 70s when they figured out how to be successful both at work and at home. They've learned that being a good provider means more than just the money, more than those titles. It means providing emotional safety and connection and presence to everyone in the family. So you can do this. You can start small, but you do need to start. So pick one thing this week. Maybe it's putting your phone in another room during dinner, and be really clear that you're doing that. Maybe it's asking your spouse one question about their inner world that really shows that you're listening and you are listening to their answer. Maybe it's about having a conversation with your kid about something they care about, not something you think they should care about. The goal here isn't to become perfect overnight. The goal is to start showing up and show up differently, to start being curious about your family's inner world. That's so important, and you will benefit so much from that. Start making decisions that consider everyone, not just career implications. The thing about relationships is they are incredibly resilient. Familial relationships are resilient. They are our blood. Your family wants to connect with you. They're not about holding grudges about the past, but they are protecting themselves from more disappointment. That's what you need to realize. But when you start showing up differently, they'll notice. They'll maybe push back a little bit at first. Maybe there'll be some resistance, but they want this connection as much as you do. And I get it. You've been told your whole life, providing is the right thing to do. Providing is loving. That success in your work equals success in life. But what if that's not the whole picture? What if men who feel most satisfied in their 60s and 70s are the ones who figured out how to manage work and home in an equal way? The good news is you're watching this video. You are here. You're already ahead of the curve. You're ahead of so many others. Most men don't even realize that all this stuff is happening until it's too late. The fact that you're here, the fact that you've gotten this far in this video, there's something inside of you that's saying, yeah, this doesn't feel right. That means that you still have time to change course. Good for you. Your family is still there. Your marriage can still be saved. Your kids can still learn to trust you with their hearts. But it requires a different kind of courage that you're used to. The courage to be vulnerable, my friend, to be present, to choose connection over achievement. Choose connection over achievement. It means being willing to be seen as more than just that provider. You're more than that role. It means taking emotional intimacy and running with it. It means admitting that maybe, just maybe, you've been getting some things wrong. Own up to that. But here's what you get in return. A family that knows you, kids who come to you with their problems because they trust you with their hearts, a spouse who sees you as a partner, not just a roommate, a sense of purpose that goes beyond your job title. And when you're 75 and looking back at your life, you won't be thinking about, oh, promotion X or promotion Y. You didn't get that, you didn't get this, I didn't land that client. You'll be thinking about those relationships you built and the moments that you didn't miss, the connections that you actually made. Now that's legacy stuff. That's legacy stuff. And that's what really matters. If this whole discussion resonates with you, I want to hear from you. Go ahead and drop a comment below and tell me which of these mistakes hit closer to home for you. And maybe what have you noticed your family doing, adapting to, and in your absence, and maybe even when you're present? Have you realized your career ambition has cost you in maybe more ways than you thought or bargained for? Maybe you're sitting there thinking, yeah, this is exactly what's happening in my household right now, but I have no idea what to do or how to change. Maybe you even think it's too late, that the damage is already done. I want you to know this, it's not too late. The fact that you're recognizing these patterns, that means you're already on the path to change. And good for you. I work with men who thought their marriages were over. They believed that the kids would never trust them again, that they felt like strangers in their own home, as I had mentioned. But here's what I've learned as well. Relationships can stand this. They can rebuild. They can be reestablished. And when we show up with authenticity, when we show up vulnerably, your family doesn't need you to be perfect. They need you to be present. They need you to be curious about them and their world. They need you to choose connection over achievement, at least some of the time. And if you're ready to have a conversation of what comes next, then I just want you to know I work with men navigating these situations, men who are successful in their careers but are feeling empty in their relationships, men who are starting to realize that the game that they've been playing might not be the game they want to win. There's a link in the description below where you can book a midlife clarity call with me. We'll talk about where you are, where you want to be, and what it's going to take to bridge that gap. Because the truth is, you don't have to choose between success and relationship fulfillment. You just have to learn how to do both in a better way. You do have to choose to start. You have to choose to be present. You have to choose to be vulnerable, my friend. Trust me. You have to choose to show up differently than you have been. It's not too late to change the story, but it starts with acknowledging where you are right now. And if you've made it thus far in this video, you're ready to take some steps. Your future self, the one who's sitting at those family dinners and everyone's actually engaged and wanting to be there, and there's so much fun and joy being shared, the kids are talking, and the spouse is there present with you, feeling you as a spouse, as a partner, not just a roommate. That version of you is still possible, but only if you start. I'll see you in the next video. Go ahead, like, subscribe, share, and yes, do comment.